What is the purpose of knowing the truth? The question is, what if you come to know the truth, and the truth takes you down a path, and that path brings you to a place that tells you that there is no purpose at all? Let's suppose this idea. What we come to understand in respect to the material universe is communicated by others outside of this planetary environment, from which all you know that's been listening to me know that I believe that this is a prison planet and this is a prison body, and our memory's been erased, and that's the reason why we don't know shit. But for those who are outside and who have not been afflicted, and some have not been compromised at all, and have trillions of years of memory behind them, and have a lot of communication throughout the creation, communicate the idea that creation is the result of illusion. Illusion based on consciousness and conscious projection. And that projection of consciousness is done through creational energy. And for that illusion to maintain itself, it must be constantly fed with creational energy, or intent of consciousness the focal point being that done by the one is-be or immortal spiritual being that's imagining more than one. So you have this creation taking place, which is based on first imaginary illusion. An illusion manifests itself. In order for illusion to continue, to expand, and to develop, that intent on the behalf of the one who is imagining needs to be maintained, and that energy needs to be fed into it in order for it to continue to maintain and expand itself. Now, once it reaches a point of what we understand as the material universe being developed, then there is a process which allows the beings to project themselves into that illusion and become part of the material universe, whether it be planets, whether it be stars, whether it be manifesting within some type of form, because the being themselves, or the immortal spiritual being, as what we all are, have no mass and they have no form. So in order to perpetuate the illusion, they must become part of the creation and create drama. Maintain that drama. Maintain interest. That's what's necessary. To play the game. So you have this perpetuation going on in order to maintain this state of illusion. In order for it to continue, it must be constantly fed. My question is this. If that truth takes you to another place, which would be behind all of that, where does the creational energy come from? Where does the immortal spiritual being come from? If we look at the process of creation from that perspective, or that model, if you will, which I believe to be the correct one, one would have to come to an understanding that it is very consistent, and that it is program-like. There seems to be, from my perspective, a program behind all of this. So let's take another couple steps back, if we will, in order to try to get a different perspective on this. If that is the case, who is creating the program? Who's initiating the program? Or what is initiating the program? You got to think really big here. So let's do this. Let's take this glass as an example. This glass represents all of the universes which are really without number. Oops, bring that into frame. So we have a glass that has all this stuff going on inside of it. We're inside there somewhere. Okay? And what has happened is that something on the outside has come and placed something in here, mixed with something whatever else, whichever would make up the combination, in order to create this program that it would be self-replicating. And you would have all these different streams of consciousness within code, perpetuating the idea of expansion of what we consider to be called creation. Although the being that's out here, that's done this experiment, if you want to call it an experiment, might as well, could be sitting there holding this glass for about 15 or 20 minutes. And those that were in that which is it's experiencing, whatever it's experiencing inside, whatever those beings may be, feels like eternities. It's all about perspective. Remember when I started this channel, my objective was to look at perspective. So we have this concept of a program being initiated to perpetuate expansion. So in order for this expansion to maintain itself, there must be interest on the behalf of the programs that exist within the program or the code, and the result of the stream of consciousness that is developed from that code, which I would like to call immortal spiritual beings. Because there's a sovereignty and there's a uniqueness and there's individual streams, obviously. Individual beings, individual streams. So we have this drama going on. In order for it to expand and maintain itself, it requires drama. Which leads me to my next question. When it stops being a drama, when it stops being fed into, what happens to it? Well, according to some of these beings that have been communicating that are outside of this prison environment, says it ceases to exist because it's an illusion. It's created through a sense of stream of consciousness that needs to be constantly fed in order for it to perpetuate itself. So, what is the point of all this to begin with? Where does the creational energy come from? Does it come from a guy in a lab coat holding a petri dish or a beer glass, in this case, which I wish I had beer in at this point, especially after talking about this stuff. And once it ceases, or once there is another program, or should I say a manipulation of the existing program, what happens to it? Does it continue to grow? Does it go in a different direction? Does it stop? Does it cease? what we do understand, or what I've come to know, is that when interest is no longer there, therefore it ceases. That illusion stops. It disappears. The universe, material universe, all the dramas that's involved, and everything goes back to its original state. What's the point of all this? What's the point? This is just a game? Apparently it seems to be somebody else's game. Because I don't want to play this game. I'm really not interested in playing this game. I may have been interested in playing this game at one point. And maybe I got tired of playing this game. And I start pointing all this stuff out that maybe a lot of other beings are aware of this, but some of them rather choose not to be aware of it. I don't know. Maybe this is the reason why I ended up on this present planet. Because I'm a nonconformist or I'm a troublemaker. I don't know. Whatever the case may be, I find this to be bullshit. Nothing really has any real meaning if somebody else is pulling the strings. There is no real freedom, period. At all. We're just playing out. And I think it's possible to break the code, but then again, we're not the result of our own making, period, in that respect of what I just mentioned. So what does it matter if you break the code or not? Everything's kind of futile. It means nothing. So I think what I'm going to do here for my channel is I'm going to go ahead and disengage. I don't know if that's a proper word. Is the proper? I don't think that's the proper word. I don't know. But I'm going to take the likes and dislikes and I'm going to disengage that. That's the only term I can come up with at this point. And also the comments, because I thought this was a good thing to do to try to help people, but I realize, at least at this stage, I don't see the point in anything. And if you've been following with what I just said and what I've been talking about, you can understand why. So, good luck.